Hi everyone, my name is Damia Qistina, and alongside with me, my group member, we will be conducting a research study titled Awareness of Sign Language and Facial Expression Among Non-Signing Students in Higher Education. So these studies was inspired by the importance of building a more inclusive environment, especially in academic setting, where students from different background, including the deaf community, should feel equally seen and also heard. So today I'll be walking you through three key parts of our poster, which is the first one is the abstract, the problem statements and identify gaps, and also the pilot report for research question 2, which is RQ2. Okay, for the problem statement and also gap, so even though many institutions try to promote inclusivity, we discovered that a big challenge still exists between deaf and also hearing individuals, especially when the hearing individuals are not know how to communicate using sign language or facial expression. So the problem is most existing research only focus on the deaf community or those who already know the sign language. But what about those who don't? So because of that, this leads us to identify three main gaps, which is the first one is lack of research from the non-signing student perspective. Because of most studies, ignore what these students know or don't know, because of their too focus on the one who already know the sign language. Next is contextual misunderstanding. So many hearing students misunderstand or misinterpret sign language or facial expressions, which can also create a confusion and also even an offense. Last is limited educational support. So these are very few resources or formal effort to teach sign language awareness in university setting. So because of this, many non-signers remain unaware of how to interact effectively with the deaf community.
Okay. Hi, my name is Munirah, and I will begin by outlining the methodology we use for this pilot study. So, in the study, we adopted a qualitative research design to explore students' perspective in deaf. Data was collected through two group discussions involving a total of 10 non-signing students from higher education institutions. We used a semi-structured discussion guide with open-ended questions to encourage natural, reflective responses. These discussions were recorded, transcribed, and analyzed using thematic analysis. This approach helped us identify recurring themes such as students' experience, their exposure to sign language, and perceived institutional support.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Amirah Syazwani binti Ahmad Rizwan. My matric number is 2316072. And now I will be explaining about the three parts in this poster, which is research question, research objective, and also the refined version of literature review. So the first part is research questions. So we come up with two research questions. So the first one is going to be, what is the level of awareness of sign language and also facial expressions among non-signing students in higher education? So from this question, it actually raises another question on how much does the higher education students know about sign language, how to use it, and also what they feel about the importance of the facial expressions and conveying the sign language itself, and are they aware on how this expression help to convey the meaning in the communication. The second research question is, how can these strategies be implemented to improve the non-signing students in understanding about the recognition of sign language and facial expressions? Or in other words, we could say, what kind of tools or even strategies can we use to make the communication and the community more inclusive? So now we're going to move on to the next part, which is research objective. So with keeping the research gap and also the research question in mind, our study actually aims to achieve two key objectives. So the first one is that we try to identify the current level of awareness of sign language and also facial expression among the non-signing students regarding the sign language and also the communicative roles of facial expressions. And then the second research objective is that we try to investigate what are the strategies that can enhance their recognition, also understanding, where it ultimately promote more inclusive and respectful communications in the academic setting. So now we're moving on to the next part, which is the brief literature reviews. So previous studies have primarily focused on the benefits of the sign language, but it is among the deaf individual itself and also the application within the inclusive educational settings. But however, we see that there are a quite noticeable research gap, which is very concerning about the awareness and also the understanding of sign language and also facial expression among non-Chinese students in higher education. And according to Brad et al. 2019, there are only a small number of studies have looked into how actually sign language and facial expression affect the communication and relationship among non-signing students from different backgrounds, and also how it affects their relationship. And apart from that, Roger et al. 2021 also highlight that non-signing students have lack of awareness of sign language and facial expression, where it can often lead to the misunderstanding which can negatively impact both social and also their academic experiences. So therefore, for us to address this issue is very essential because it can help in developing the effective strategies to improve the recognition and comprehension of sign language and facial expression, where we can actually promote more inclusive and empathetic kind of academic environment.
So now I explain to you the finding from our pilot study for research question 1, which being asked what is the level of awareness of sign language and also facial expression among non-signing students in higher education. So to explore this, we asked a participant 3 main questions during our focus group session, which is the first one is we asked what do you know about sign language. So most participants say that they learn sign language informally through personal experience, social media, or from friends who are familiar with it. So this align with the social culture theory, which explain that learning can happen informally through interaction and also media exposure. Next, we ask what role do you think facial expression play in sign language communication? So many participants correctly say that the facial expression are essential. So they mentioned that without them, sign language will feel incomplete or could even be misunderstood. So one participant said if someone sign happy but look sad, it create a misunderstanding. So these support the idea that facial expression are not just emotional tools but are part of the grammar in sign communication, which help clarify the meaning. Finally, we ask, have you ever received any formal or informal exposure to sign language in your education? So most participants say they have received formal education, but some had been exposed through friends or online platforms like YouTube and also Google. So especially during secondary school, so these reflect how informal learners, especially through peer sharing and online resources, is the main sources of awareness for many students. So in summary, our findings show that although students have basic understanding of sign language and facial expression, their knowledge mainly come from informal exposure, not structured education. So there is clear potential for improvement through more formal sign language program or inclusive learning initiative in university setting.
Now, let's move on to RQ number 2, which asks how can strategies be implemented to improve non-signing students' understanding and recognition of sign language and facial expression. So from our discussion, 3 key terms emerge. The first one is institutional limitation and resource gaps. Most students reported that their university lack formal resources for learning about sign language or deaf culture. While some found online mentions like YouTube helpful, many felt that this informal approach was insufficient. They emphasized a lack of structured courses or dedicated initiative, indicating a gap between institutional goals and actual accessibility. This reflects the finding of Brad et al. 2019, who also noted that educational institutions often lack the infrastructure to support inclusive communication practices. The second key theme is low confidence due to minimal exposure. A consistent theme across participants was a lack of confidence when it came to interacting with deaf or hard of hearing individuals. Students admitted feeling unprepared and anxious due to limited exposure and lack of practice. One participant also mentioned, I don't have the skills, so I feel very low confidence. This aligned with McDermott and Lakes 2025, who emphasized that confidence built through structured support and repeated social experience, which is something the students have not been offered. Interestingly, this finding contrasts with Patterson and Maybury 2018, who found that even deaf individuals did not show significantly higher confidence in recognizing emotional cues through facial expression. This suggests that confidence may rely more on consistent training and support, than on familiarity with sign language alone. And thirdly is proposed strategies for improvement. Participants were clear in their suggestion. They proposed making sign language a compulsory subject, launching university-wide awareness campaigns, and creating more opportunities for interaction with the deaf community, such as workshop or events. These strategies point to the need for both institutional commitment and community engagement. Their suggestion align closely with Chen et al. 2024, who advocate for inclusive curriculum and peer interaction as pathways to better awareness and empathy. Alright, so to conclude, this pilot study highlights a notable gap in non-signing students' awareness and confidence regarding sign language and facial expression in higher education. Despite some learning through peers or digital media, students still lack structured exposure, leading to miscommunication, low confidence, and missed opportunities for inclusive dialogue. Importantly, facial expression, which is an essential part of sign language, remain under-recognized. The student voice in the study make it clear there is a strong desire for change. By integrating sign language into university curriculum, supporting awareness campaigns, and encouraging interaction with the deaf community, institutions can take meaningful steps toward fostering a more inclusive and empathetic academic environment. So that's all from us. Thank you.